Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. This video is for part 3 of Charlotte's Universe. Charlotte's Universe has been designed by Deidre Ouse from Look at What I Made, and a link for this part of the pattern is also in the video description. I'm making my Charlotte's Universe using various colors of Scheepjes stone washed yarn. Exactly which color I'm using for which round I've also got on my blog. A link for that's in the video description. For part 3 we'll be making this band here of this flower band. That's what we'll be doing in part 3, but I won't actually be using this version of Charlotte. I'll be using this one here, so you'll be seeing a slightly different color in the video. So you see I'll be making this band here, but it's the same stitches, but this is my colorway for Charlotte's Universe, and this was my colorway for Charlotte, so hence the two different squares and colors. So let's get started on these first rows of part 3. Round 29, going to start with the front side facing, and we're going to start in the corner of any triangle. So here are the two bubbles we made last time and the chain 2 that's between them. I have a new color yarn on my hook. This is actually only a temporary color while I show you the stitches, because after that I'm going to just rip this out and do it actually in the same color as the triangle. So this is just to help you that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start in any corner space with a single crochet, chain 2 and a single crochet. And then that is your new corner made. We're now going to work a single crochet on the first 3 stitches. Now remember, you've got that treble here, then you've got that double crochet that's over there, and then you've got the bobble here. So on these 3 stitches we're going to be working, and the treble might be a little hard to get into, so I'm just going to do it over here. That's the treble. And then you've got the double crochet, that's that stitch here, and there. Just going to work into that stitch, and actually if you don't get into it properly, that's not such a drama. You're looking for 3 stitches here, so I'm just going to kind of grab it like that, and then you work into the bobble that we took together, and that's this stitch over here. And those 3 stitches are the first 3 that you need to work. Now it becomes a little bit easier. You're going to work along this edge here. You're going to come down. First we make a single crochet between the treble bobble, that's this one here, and this stitch here from the top of row 27. You see that little space there? That space there. You're going to work a single crochet in there. See how you're building your edge. And I have a chain space here, that's the edge of this row. You're going to work 3 single crochets in there. So 1, 2, 3 single crochets. Going to do the same on the next edge and the next one and the next one. So this kind of natural space you have here, the end of each row, you're going to work 3 single crochets in there. You're going to do this for every row. That will be 8 times. So I've now done it twice. So when I do it 8 times, I'll be down here. So you'll be at the point where you meet the small centered square that we made. So I'm going to work 3 singles in each of these spaces. And this is also you can now really see the stitches that I'm making, because I'm using a different color yarn. But if you use the same color as you did with the triangle, you won't see these stitches, and that's actually nicer for the final result. So that's also why I'm going to just pull this out when I'm finished showing you, and then I'll do it in the green also, because that'll just give a nicer result. And then here 3 singles, And then this row will of course give you a base for working the rest of the pattern for this part. And let me just get my yarn untwisted. 3 singles again in the next space. Yeah, and 3. And then this should be space number 8, this one here. You're just before the cluster. You see here's that cluster that we made, that one that we started with. To work 3 single crochets in that space before the cluster. And if everything went right and I did it 8 times, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, so now I've done 8 times these little groups of 3 single crochets along the edge. You've worked the 3 here at the beginning and that 1 between the bobble and that first row there. Now we're ready to make the crossover from this side to the next side. Now you just need to pay a little bit of attention that you don't accidentally make a mistake here. So we've done the 3 single crochets in there. I'm going to now make 2 half doubles around the side of the cluster. So this cluster here consists of 3 stitches, 3 legs, and there, this here is the side. Around that that leg you're going to work 2 half doubles. Around that leg work a half double and also work a second leg. So you can see around that leg you're going to work 2 half doubles. That's the first part. Then we're going to make a half double in the stitch that contains the last leg of this cluster. So it's in there. You see there's the last leg, so in that stitch I'm going to work a half double. So in that last position I'm going to insert and make a half double. Now you're onto the chain 2 space that's between this kind of between the triangles, and here's the square. See that chain 2 space? Work 2 half doubles in there. And 2 half doubles. I'm going to come over to the other side and again work 2 half doubles in the side of the cluster. Now very important, don't go autopilot here because you've made that 1 stitch there. You also make it on that side. It's not part of the pattern here, so keep that in mind. So only in the side, oh wait, that's maybe one too deep. Only in the side there. No, I've done it again. I don't want to grab the second one. I only want to go in there. Only around that post. Work 2 half doubles. And now you've crossed over onto this side. And now you can work 3 single crochets in each of these spaces again, 8 of them in total. I'm just going to do that with you. So making 3 single crochets in each side of these rows. So this will either be a chain 3 or a double crochet, kind of depending on which row it is. I'm going to again do 8 of these, 8 groups of the 3. So this is group number 3. And this is group number 4. So I'm just going a little fast here. Group number 4. So you see how you're making a nice edge here. Just move everything a bit, because even at this point Charlotte is already getting quite considerably a large square, and we still have quite a few rows to go. So she's going to be beautiful and large. And I've got a few more rows to do. And 3. And then this here is the last row. Sorry. This here is the last row just before you get to your next bobble. Work 3 single crochets in there. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. I'm going to skip the slip stitch that you're going to encounter now, so don't worry about that. And single crochet in the last 3 stitches. Remember, at this point you have a double crochet. Let me just open up. You've got a double crochet, a bobble, and a treble. You see here is a double crochet, that's the stitch for that. Here's the bobble, that's the stitch for that, and here's that treble, there's the stitch for that. So in those three positions we're going to work a single. So in the double crochet here, just again going to just hook into that eye. In the top of the bobble and in the treble, that last treble there. You're onto the corner, and in the corner you work a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. That brings us to the same point as where we started, because here you've got a corner, and we also started with a corner over here. So now we're going to do exactly the same as we've done before. Going to work those first 3 stitches, then work a stitch between the cluster and this row here, so that kind of that space in there, then work 3 in every space and go all the way down. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually take this out. So I'm going to frog this, and then I'm going to do this in a color, in the same color as the squares. So it'll just give me a nice edge. When you've gone all the way around, close on your first stitch with a slip stitch, and take the time to just count your stitches. You should have 64 stitches per side, so not including the chain 2 corners, but just from this first stitch to the last stitch should be 64 per edge. Make sure that's your stitch count, so that when the next row comes, you don't have any issues and don't have to fudge anything. So just check your stitch count. I'm just going to frog, work everything in the green color, and then I'll see you for the next round. And after you've worked the edge in the same color as your squares, or sorry, your triangles, your square will look like this. You'll see that this edge is hardly noticeable, and that's exactly what you want. That gives you a good base for the rest of this part. So count your stitches, make sure you've got 64 on each edge, and if you fudge a stitch here or there, that's really not a problem. Just make sure you have 64 stitches on each edge. Round 30, I have a new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in any corner space, in any chain 2 corner space. You're going to start in there with making a new corner. I'm going to start with a standing double crochet. I'm going to yarn over and hold on to that for a moment. Then in that chain 2 corner space, make a standing double crochet, followed by a second double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets in that same space. And this is then your new corner. So corner is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. So that's your corner made in that chain 2 space. So note how I only worked over the chain 2 space from the last row and not this entire big gap here. You only want that chain 2 space from the last row. Now we're ready to start the edge, and this edge is going to be very relaxing this entire round. We're going to make a double crochet in every stitch, as easy as that. Now especially the first one, that stitch can be kind of easy to miss, so be sure that you don't miss that first stitch. So really pull it open if you have to, if you can't see that first stitch. I'm going to work a double crochet in there, and then one in every stitch after also. That's going to be 64 in total. When you get to the next corner, you work again 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, and then you're on the next edge working a double crochet in every stitch. Go all the way around, and when you get here to your last stitch, close on there with a slip stitch. Round 31, new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in any chain 2 corner space with a standing half double crochet. There chain 2 and another half double in the same space. So that's your new corner made. We're now going to start on the edge, and we're going to work a back post double crochet on every stitch, and you're going to do that all the way around. Let's yarn over, and especially this first stitch is sometimes just a little tricky. So take care of that first one and then complete the double crochet. So you can see how you're working back post double crochet on every stitch. And when you get to the end of this first edge, you're going to work in the corner the same as here, a half double, chain 2, half double, and then go for the next edge and again work a back post double crochet on every stitch. Go all the way around. When you get to the first stitch, which is going to be this standing half double here, close on there with a slip stitch, and then don't cut your yarn because we're going to use the same color for the next round also. So go all the way around, and then I'll see you for the next round. Round 32, I'm going to continue with the same color yarn. You're currently in that first stitch there. Just going to, in that first double crochet there, or half double I should say, just going to slip stitch into the corner. Now you're ready to start. Do a chain 3. This is your first double crochet. If you want to, you can also do a chainless standing double crochet here, followed by another double crochet, chain 2, and again 2 double crochets. That is your first corner made. Now going to continue onto the edge. You're going to start by actually skipping the very first stitch and then working 2 double crochets. And the first stitch is going to be this one here. You're going to skip that stitch. You're going to start there. So skipping that one, going on to the next, work 1 half double, a double, and on the next stitch also work a double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then going to skip 2 stitches and then slip stitch into the next. So that means skipping 1, 2 stitches, then slip stitch into the third stitch. That's going to make this little loop here. We're now going to make a large loop, chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now you can come down, and in the same stitch as where you've made that first slip stitch, you're going to make another one. So you're going to close this loop. As you can see here, so in the same stitch you now have 2 slip stitches. So you're kind of making this loop there. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That's going to be symmetrical to that side, here on this side. Skipping 2 stitches and then work 5 double crochets. So we're going to skip 1, 2 stitches, and then in the third, 1, 2 skip, and in the third work the first double. I'm just going to show you here. You can see how that is symmetrical there. So that's what you want. You see, there you've skipped 2 stitches, and here you skip 2 stitches in the middle. You have this loop there. That was 1 double. Going to do 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets. And this is your repeat unit, starting at the chain 3 and up to the end of this of this 5th double crochet. This is your repeat unit. You're going to do this 6 times. Just done once. I'll show you another repeat and then we'll make a jump in the video. So that's chain 3, 2, 3, skipping 2 stitches, do a slip stitch. That's 1, 2, skip, then in the 3rd make a slip stitch. Chain 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then come down and in the same stitch, so you had that first slip stitch, going to make a second one. That's going to make you this loop, same as that one. I'm going to have another loop now. Chain 3, 3, then skipping 2 stitches, 1, 2, skip, and the 3rd work a double, and you're going to work 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you've now done 2 of the repeats. You're going to do 4 more and then I'll just see you for the last bit of the edge. We've now done the repeat 6 times and you should have a few stitches left at this point. You're going to do basically half a repeat here. So it's chain 3. You're going to do this first bit here, you're going to do that again, so that's chain 3, then skip 2 stitches, so that's 1, 2, skip, and then in the 3rd work a slip stitch, chain 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chain stitches. In the same stitch work a second slip stitch. There you go. Chain 3, skipping 2 stitches, and here comes the difference, skipping 2 stitches, then work a double crochet on the last 2 stitches of this edge. 1 and 2. If you have more stitches left here, or less stitches for that matter, I'm pretty sure the mistake will be on these places somewhere, that you've skipped too many or too few stitches with the chain and then skipping 2 stitches. That's most probably where it went wrong. So here at the end you should have 2 stitches left. I'm going to do the corner, and there that's going to be 2 doubles, chain 2, and then again 2 doubles. So 1 and 2. And this corner is exactly the same as the corner we just started with over here. So now you're going to do this entire edge. You're going to do this again all the way around. When you get to that chain 3, close on there with a slip stitch and don't cut your yarn, because we're using the same color for the next round also. Round 33. You're currently in this chain 3 double crochet here. I'm going to move to the chain 2 corner space. So I'm just going to slip stitch into the next double crochet and then slip stitch into the corner. And now we're ready to start the stitches of this round. I'm going to make first a new corner. It's chain 3, which again counts as your first double crochet, followed by a second double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. That is 1, and 2. So that's your new corner made. I'm going to start by working double crochets on these first 4 stitches here. I'm just going to open that up a bit because that first stitch you don't want to miss that. So on these first 4 doubles, work a double on each. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. There you go. So those are the first 4 stitches. And I'm going to make a chain 5, and then we're going to skip everything that's here. So this chain 3, the chain 8, and this chain 3, and then start working on these double crochets here again. So first chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to skip all of this, and then on these 5 double crochets you have there, work a double crochet on each of those. So that's yarn over, and then on the first double you work a double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets. Now this little repeat unit, I'm going to do that 6 times. So chain 5 and then 5 double crochets. So you're going to do that here also. Chain 5 and then 5 double crochets. When you've done that 6 times, you'll be almost to the other side. I'll just show you the last bit. Almost to the end of this edge. You've just done this repeat 6 times, and at this point you should have this little loops, little lefts, and a few stitches to the corner. So it won't surprise you, you're going to do a chain 5 over this last loop, and then we're going to work a double crochet on the last 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's 5 chain stitches. Then skipping again everything that's below you, work a double crochet on the last 4 stitches. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next up is the corner. We're going to do the same as the corner that we started with. That's 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. It's 1, 2, chain 2, and 2 doubles. There we go. And this corner is the same as the corner we started with. So that means on your next edge you're going to do 4 doubles, then chain 5, skipping the little flower, then work here 5 doubles again. Go all the way around and get to your first stitch, that chain 3, close on that with a slip stitch. Round 34, we're again in the chain 3 double crochet here, and we're first going to move to the corner. So I'm going to do a slip stitch in the next double crochet, and then a slip stitch into the corner. Chain 3, that's my first double crochet, followed by another double, chain 2, and 2 more doubles in the same space. And this should all be familiar to you because we've done this in the previous row also. Now we're ready to start the first edge. Work 1 double crochet in the first stitch. And again, be sure not to miss that stitch, it's that little one there. Double crochet. Now we're going to start the repeat unit. In the repeat unit we're going to make a little motif similar to this one, and we're actually going to continue and catch this motif in our stitches. That's what we're going to be doing this round. Starting with a chain 3. So this is the start of the repeat unit. Chain 3, skipping the next 2 stitches, do a slip stitch. So it's 1, 2, skip, then in the third make a slip stitch. There we go. Chain 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and my yarn, yes, and then slip stitch into the same stitch. And now you've made that new loop there, so that's exactly the same loop as this one here. Chain 3, 2, 3, and you're going to skip the last 2 stitches. You should have 2 left here, and then your next stitches are going to be in the chain 5 space you've made in the previous round. So in the chain 5 space, work 1 double crochet. There you go. Now we're going to work a double crochet 2 together in the same chain 5 space. Yarn over, then work the first half of a double crochet in that chain 5 space, and work the second half of a double crochet. 3 loops on your hook, take them all off in one go. We're now going to work a double crochet, and while we do so, we're going to work through the chain 5 space and this chain 8 space. So we're going to catch this loop and connect it to our work. And what I like to do is, if what can happen is that this loop kind of turns in on itself, I like to just make sure that I've got the outside of the loop like that. Then it's just connected nicer to your work. So that the loop is with the chain stitches are all on the outside here. So catching the chain 8 loop through the chain 5 loop, so you've got both of those loops together, work a double crochet. So now you've connected this loop to your work. On the other side, so you're going to continue in the chain 5 space, work a double crochet 2 together again. The first half, first leg, and this is the second leg. 3 loops on your hook, take them all off. And 1 more double crochet in the chain 5 space. And there you go. And now you've connected this loop to your work, and you've kind of given it a bit of a background on both sides. Going to continue with this repeat unit, because this is actually our repeat unit. You've now completed that entire unit. So what you've just done from the chain 3 onwards, you're going to repeat here also. So you're now going to do chain 3, then work the, let me just open that up here. So you're going to work a chain 3, and then in the center here again a slip stitch, make the chain 8 loop and a slip stitch, skipping those 2, and then in here work the same as you did there. So that's going to be a double crochet, double 2 together, double crochet catching the loop, so that's going to be this one, then again double 2 together and a double crochet. So this repeat unit, going to do this 7 times in total. You've now done once, so do it 6 more times, and then I'll see you towards the end of this row. When you've done the repeat 8 times, you're almost to the corner. You can see here the last little flower that we made. I've caught this last loop here and work these double crochets, and the double crochets 2 togethers, of course. Now on these last stitches you still have left, going to work 1 more of these flowers. I'm going to do a chain 3, that's 1, 2, 3, then again skipping 2 stitches, go work a slip stitch. It's 1, 2, skip, then on the third, see it's 1, 2, on the third work a slip stitch, which I can't seem to get through. There we go. Chain 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Come down in the same position, work a slip stitch again, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skipping 2 stitches, work a double crochet on the last stitch of this edge. At this point you've come to the corner where we're going to work 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. This is the classic corner that we've done for a few rows now, and then 2 more doubles. And the last one, like so. Then this corner here is the same as the corner that we started with, which means you can now work your next edge here, which is a double crochet, then work another flower, and then come here and work these doubles and catch this loop also. Go all the way around, and when you do your first stitch, there's that starting chain 3, close there with a slip stitch. Round 35. I'm currently in the chain 3 from the previous round, where I close with a slip stitch, and we're just going to move to the chain 2 space. So on the next double crochet, I do a slip stitch, and the chain 2 space, I slip stitch into that. Now we're ready for the actual corner. Do a chain 3. This is your first double crochet. If you want to, you can also do a standing stitch here, followed by a second double crochet, chain 2 and again 2 doubles. It's the same corner we've been making on the other rounds also, and then last one. So that's your corner made. Now we're ready for the first edge. And this edge is going to be very similar to what we did 2 rows down. On the first 3 stitches, I'm going to work a double crochet on each of those. Especially the first one, make sure you don't accidentally skip that first one. So those first 3 stitches, work a double crochet on each. And number 3. Now I'm going to do chain 5, then skipping this loop, work double crochets on these 5 doubles that are in between there. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then skip everything here, so the chain 8 loop those chain 3s. You've got these 5 double crochets here in between. You're going to work a double on each of those. And then that there is number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This you're going to repeat. So starting at the chain 5 to the end of these 5 double crochets, going to do this till you get to the other side. Just do once more with you. So it's chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain stitches, skipping the loops, go to these 5, to the next 5 double crochets, kind of hold on to that yarn over in the first stitch. That's your first double crochet, and you do 5, 2, 3, no, that's just the front loop, you want both loops, 4 and 5. There you go. I've now done the repeat twice, so here once and twice. Going to do this 7 times. It'll bring you almost to the other side, and I'll just see you for the last bit. I've now done the repeat 7 times. At this point you should have one series of these loops left before the corner. to do a chain 5, skipping these last loops, work 3 double crochets on the last 3 stitches, so you should have 3 stitches left there. I'm just going to do that with you. So it's chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then on these last 3 stitches, work a double crochet on each. And I'm not in the stitch actually. See, that is of course a risk here, is that you work into this chain space. Beware of that. You actually really want to work into the stitch, so into that position there. If you notice that you're not in the stitch, just quickly do it again. So in that first stitch, it's 1 and 2, and then on the last one is number 3, so it's 3 double crochets there. Next up is the corner, same corner as the one we started with, so it's 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, all in the chain 2 corner space. And 2. Now this corner is the same as the corner we started with, so on this edge you're going to do everything that we just did on this edge here also. Go all the way around, close on your chain 3 that we started with, so it's going to be this stitch here, close on that, and then I'll see you for the last round. Round 36, this is the last round of our Charlotte square. We're going to slip stitch into the chain 2 corner space again. So I'm currently in that chain 3 there, so I'm just going to slip stitch into the next stitch, which is a double crochet, and then into the chain 2 corner. Now we're ready for the first corner. Chain 1, this does not count as a stitch, it's just to get you to the correct height. Now work your corner. It's a single crochet, so take note here, this is a single crochet, not all the doubles we've been doing up till now. Single crochet, chain 2, and then a single crochet in the same space. And that is your first corner made. So onto the first edge, and here we're going to be doing something very similar that we did here. We're going to be catching these loops again, and we're going to be connecting everything together. Big difference, however, in this round we're working with single crochets, so take note. Going to skip the first stitch, that's going to be that stitch there. Going to skip that stitch, then work a single crochet on the next 4 stitches. Skipping this very first one, on your second work a single. We're going to work 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it means on the remaining 4 stitches you've now worked a single. Now onto the next chain 5 space, and here we're also going to start our repeat unit. Going to make 2 single crochets in this space. It's 1 and 2. We're now again going to catch the chain 8 loop you have down here. We're going to catch that, so through the loop and the chain 5, so over everything, pick up and work a single. Then back in the chain 5 loop, that's on the other side here, work 2 singles. And 2. So if you want to just fashion that all a little bit, that the loop is nice in the middle. We're going to continue, and you have got 5 double crochets here. Work a single crochet on each of those. And I've just, see, my hook just got stuck here. That happens to me sometimes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and That's 5. So you've worked 5 single crochets on those 5 doubles that you got between the loops. And this is your repeat unit, starting here at that first single crochet in the chain 5 up to this last single crochet. I'm going to do this, I believe, 7 times in total. I'll just show you this repeat one more time. Just move everything a bit, because Charlotte is actually seriously growing. Got quite a big square at the moment. Onto the next chain 5 space. Make 2 single crochets in that space. Then catching the chain 8 loop through the chain 8 and the chain 5, catch and work a single. On the other side of the chain 8, work 2 singles in the chain 5. If you want to, again, just fashion it all a bit, that's nice and centered. You've got 5 double crochets now. You're going to work a single in each of those. On the first one, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I've now done the repeat twice with you. I'm going to do this 7 times, so repeat this 5 more times, and then I'll see you on the other side for the last bit. Almost to the other side, you're going to have the last chain 5 space, work 2 single crochets in there. You're going to do exactly the same as you did on the repeat. Catch your chain 8 and the chain 5 together in a single crochet. On the other side, again, 2 singles and 2. At this point you should have 5 stitches left, and on each of these work a single. Also on the first one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next up is the corner. Work the same corner as we started with. That's a single, chain 2, and a single. Single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. Now we're at the same point as where we started, so we're going to work the next edge again and go all the way around. When you get to the first stitch, close with a slip stitch. Be mindful when you start this edge again, remember to skip that first stitch. So your corner here is not completely symmetrical. Here you've got 5 single crochets, and here you've only got 4. So keep that in mind, remember to skip that first stitch. Well, go all the way around and close with a slip stitch on your first single crochet. When you've closed with a slip stitch, work away your yarn tails, and then you've completed your Charlotte. Take a moment to block your square. That will just help to open up this border, and it'll just make it even more beautiful than it already is. And then you've completed your Charlotte. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again for a new project.